The idea of low dopamine mornings has become one of the latest self-help trends, especially in online productivity and mental health circles. The concept promises sharper focus, stronger discipline, and calmer emotions by avoiding anything that gives the brain a quick dopamine surge during the first hour or even several hours after waking. Followers are encouraged to delay social media, caffeine, sugar, notifications, exercise intensity, and sometimes even music, claiming that this restrains the brain's reward system, prevents overstimulation, and trains the mind for sustained attention throughout the day. On the surface, the logic seems neat and scientific sounding. Dopamine is linked to motivation and reward, therefore controlling it must improve self-control. But the biology is more nuanced than the trend suggests, and the practice, when applied rigidly, can create unnecessary pressure, misunderstandings about brain chemistry, and even emotional harm. The trend largely stems from a misunderstanding of how dopamine actually works. Dopamine is not simply a pleasure chemical, it's a neurotransmitter involved in movement, learning, motivation, and basic survival functions. It doesn't spike dramatically from everyday experiences in the way social media graphics imply, nor does checking your phone in the morning flood the brain in a harmful way. Normal dopamine fluctuations are essential for waking up, feeling alert, and engaging with the world. Suppressing stimulation early in the day doesn't save dopamine for later. Instead, it may blunt natural motivation or make mornings feel flat and unnecessarily punishing. The trend's biological reasoning oversimplifies a highly complex system and risks creating fear around normal daily habits, as if drinking morning coffee were a neurological mistake rather than a harmless ritual for most people. Supporters also claim low dopamine mornings improve mental clarity, reduce anxiety, and help break addictive behaviors. While reducing compulsive phone use or scrolling can indeed help some people feel more grounded, the trend often exaggerates these benefits, presenting them as universally transformative when the results vary widely. People with ADHD, for example, may actually need morning stimulation, movement, music, caffeine to jumpstart focus. For individuals with depression, delaying rewarding activities can worsen low mood or create a sense of emotional deprivation. And for those with anxiety, starting the day with rigid restrictions can increase stress rather than reduce it, especially if they feel guilty for breaking the rules. What's framed as a morning optimization strategy can turn into pressure to perform a perfect wellness routine that backfires mentally. A subtler issue is how the trend encourages an avoidance-based mindset. Instead of teaching people how to use technology, food, or stimulation in healthy, intentional ways, low dopamine routines promote restraint as the main path to discipline. Some followers begin to interpret natural enjoyment, checking a message from a friend, sipping coffee, eating breakfast, as a loss of control. This can push people toward all-or-nothing thinking and reinforce an unhealthy relationship with pleasure. Social media also amplifies the idea that any morning distraction is harmful, creating guilt around normal human behavior and setting unrealistic standards that few can maintain day after day. There are also physical downsides to consider. Many versions of the routine advise delaying caffeine for hours, sometimes until noon, supposedly to protect dopamine receptors. But for people accustomed to morning coffee, this can trigger headaches, irritability, withdrawal symptoms, or even rebound fatigue that lasts all day. Delaying food to avoid sugar intake can worsen blood sugar dips, especially for people with hypoglycemia tendencies, causing shakiness, brain fog, or mood swings. Skipping enjoyable morning activities in favor of silence and austerity can make mornings feel bleak, increasing the chance of burnout or reduced motivation later. And for teens and young adults, groups most influenced by online trends, rigid morning rules can unintentionally feed emerging perfectionism or disordered behavior patterns. The trend also gives a misleading impression that morning behavior alone can dramatically reshape dopamine regulation or fix deeper mental health challenges. Dopamine imbalances tied to conditions like ADHD, bipolar disorder, or addiction cannot be balanced by avoiding Instagram for an hour. Lifestyle habits do influence well-being, but oversimplified hacks can delay proper diagnosis or treatment by making people believe they can self-regulate brain chemistry through discipline alone. It reinforces the wellness culture fantasy that small behavioral tweaks can replace comprehensive mental health care, when the reality is far more complex. In the end, low dopamine mornings are not inherently harmful, Taking a break from scrolling, starting the day more intentionally, or avoiding chaotic sensory input can indeed feel grounding for some people. But the moment these suggestions become rules, or are treated as biohacks that rewire the brain, they shift from helpful advice to a problematic wellness script. The trend oversells the science, understates the risks, and encourages a restrictive mindset that can make mornings feel like a test rather than a beginning. For most people, a healthier and more sustainable approach is to build a morning routine that supports mood, energy, and focus, not one that revolves around suppressing the brain's natural reward systems in the name of productivity.